When I looked at our pension forecasts recently, I found something worrying. There's a point in our early retirement plan where we actually run out of money, just before the age of 67. And the worrying part is, if one of us died around that time, the situation would be even worse. Today, I'm going to show you exactly where the risk is and the changes that could completely fix it. This is our standard retirement plan and assumes no growth in our pensions. It shows us the pensions increase here at £1,220 per month from the current time until we reach 58. Then, at 58, when we retire, we take the 25% tax-free cash out from our pensions. This, added to our savings, will be nearly enough to pay off our mortgage. The extra needed would come from a drawdown up to our personal tax allowance in the first year. So you can see that the drop in the funds at 58 years old, this pays off all our mortgage. Then, between there and 67, we draw down at £18,435 per year, which, when added to our small defined benefit pensions, matches our outgoings. This, however, gives us this big problem down here at 67 years old. Without any growth in our pension funds, we would run out of money at or just around 66 and a half years old, leaving us nearly £11,500 short at 67 years old. This shortage would be bad enough anyway, but if it was combined with one of us dying, then it would probably be too much and really stressful, even if we reduced our budget. Now, we're hoping that growth will move this £11,500 shortage into a surplus, but there's no guarantees. After 67, things improve, as the state pension will provide more than enough, but only if there's two of us. If we go down to just one income due to a death, then it'll be finely balanced budget each year. It'll be doable, but we would need this positive start around the age of 67 instead of the negative amount that we're predicted at the moment. Just as a reminder, if one of us dies early on in our retirement, then we'll be fine financially, as the pension of the deceased would pass over to the survivor. It is really only this area around 67 that things get concerning. So now we move on to our second option, and we prefer this one over the first plan for multiple reasons, both financially and also personally. We've talked many times recently about wanting to downsize our current property, not only releasing equity, but also lowering our monthly bills. So under this plan, which we will call our V2 plan, we remain the same up to 58 years old. Then, at that age, we take the 25% tax-free, pay off the mortgage, and downsize our property. This extra move of downsizing, which we think will give us about £60,000 after costs, leaves us with a significantly higher starting point and throughout the drawdown. And also notice that the widening gap here throughout our early years of drawdown and after the age of 67, the gap widens due to our lower monthly bills due to cheaper council tax and heating. Now, with this second option, we always remain in surplus throughout our entire retirement. And even if one of us passes away at the most critical time, which is 67, then we still have a surplus of over £62,000, which would be our emergency fund. And remember that these figures are without any growth of our pensions, so just contributions and tax relief. So could we retire any earlier? Well, if you've been watching our previous videos, then you know that retiring a year earlier would cost us around £35,000. This might be a little lower due to decreased monthly costs after downsizing. Even with these included, then if we retired at 57 instead of 58, then our low point financially at 67 would be reduced to just £27,000. Whilst this may be enough and is above our minimum level of at least a £20,000 emergency buffer, we can get this up even further. This is our third option and will be the one that we will be planning to do. Now again, if you are a regular viewer of our content, then you'll know that there are other options. There are always other options. So I'm not talking about part-time work, a side hustle, or even renting a room out. What I'm talking about is continuing to make pension contributions whilst in retirement. Even with no income from work, you can still make pension contributions of up to £2,880 per person per year. Now, as long as you are under 75 years old, then this gets topped up by HMRC with tax relief, giving you an extra £720 per person per year. But you have to have the funds in place to continue these pension contributions. This is where the extra money from downsizing will fit perfectly into the plan. Without the downsize, we simply wouldn't have the funds in place. So here is our final plan. This works out perfectly for us. We make our standard gross pension contributions of £1,220 per month, as we do under all the other plans, until we're 58. Then, at 58 years old, we knock these contributions back to £240 net each per month, using some of our savings from downsizing. Along with downsizing, we do all the other things that were mentioned in the previous plans. So that's taking the 25% tax-free out and paying off the mortgage. The net effect of continuing pension contributions at this lower level will give us an extra £1,440 per year added to our pension. This accrues over time until, at 67, we have a healthy minimum pension pot of about £75,000. This again is assuming no growth. Now that's a number that we can really work with and enables us to do a couple of things. Firstly, we can set aside a retirement bonus spending fund of £5,000. This would be used for an extended but frugal holiday to Asia. The remaining £70,000 would enable us to retire a year earlier at 57 if we wanted to, and still have a minimum emergency fund left of £35,000. Hopefully, this will be enhanced by growth as well of the funds over the next 10 to 15 years. It'd only take a few percent of growth above inflation to dramatically increase our funds. Or we could continue with our planned retirement of 58 years old and have a fantastic size emergency fund. We will make the exact decisions when we reach our target age. This is a general simplistic view of the overall pensions and savings total, and doesn't show the nuances that are involved of the actual pension withdrawals each year to maximise the use of the personal tax allowance, with spare funds going into ISA savings. I'll save those details for our next video, and I will go into the full retirement plan. So that's all the expenses and how it shifts our totals in pensions and ISAs on a year by year basis, all through our early retirement and the years beyond 67. Hopefully, this has shown you a clear idea of where we are with our ideas and our projections for pensions and savings. This also gives us peace of mind that if one of us passed away at the most critical time, then we'd still be fine financially. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.